Espgaluda II for the iPhone. This game is fantastic. If you want a game where you just shoot the crap out of everything, then this game is for you. First, let me apologize for the video quality. I don't have any capture equipment for the iPhone, so I just cranked my stereo and pointed my little Canon XE camera at the screen. Although this is an iPhone game, I'm playing this on the iPad because the screen is bigger, so my fingers won't obstruct the view and you can see what it is that I'm doing. Speaking of my fingers, I think the feature I love best about this game is the control. This is a game you control just by sliding your finger across any area of the screen. It's about as easy as controlling a mouse pointer using a laptop trackpad. Too many times I've seen iPhone games that rely on a virtual D-pad and buttons at the bottom of the screen, and it simply doesn't work. I've tried a Ghost and Goblin sequel, as well as Pac-Man CE, which is a game that I love on the 360, and both games fall flat on their face due to horrible controls. Espgaluda II, on the other hand, has great controls. Auto fire is automatically enabled, so you just have to move your character around, and the shooting is done automatically. There are more advanced control systems available, but I personally think the simplest one works best. There's one virtual button which is used to slow down the bullets at more intense areas of the game. This works only for a short time though, as it requires green gems that you pick up during the game. The internet tells me that this game is a manic shooter, and what does that really mean? Well, we've had scrolling shooting games around as long as I can remember. What manic shooter does is simply take the simple gameplay of previous shooting games and crank it up to the nth degree. That means bullets and ships are flying everywhere, there are plenty of power-ups, explosions, and lots of intense music as well. I would argue that the rush you get from playing these kind of games makes them very, very fun to play. I really like the way this game scrolls. That might sound like a strange thing to say, but the game doesn't just scroll down like you might expect. It speeds up, slows down, it goes left, it goes right, it goes backwards, and it really creates a lot of extra dynamic. I really don't recommend playing iPhone games on the iPad, and that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, most of the games don't look very good when they're scaled up. Also, if the game has a virtual D-pad and buttons, those D-pad and buttons get blown up to twice their original size, making them awkward to use. Espgaluda II, however, actually works better on the iPad in my opinion. As far as graphics go, this is an arcade port in the truest sense of the word. It's almost like they took the guts out of an old arcade cabinet and jammed them right into your iPhone. So pixelated graphics are welcome and expected on this kind of game. In fact, I have this very same game on the Xbox 360, and the graphics are just as pixelated on that version as well. As far as the controls go, it's a bit easier to control on the iPad thanks to the extra room on the screen for sliding your finger around. However, you will need two hands when you use the iPad, one to hold it and one to work your finger. On the iPhone, one-handed control is possible just by holding it in your hand and then using your thumb to slide your character around the screen. This game supports a system called OpenFaint for Twitter, and to be honest, I don't know that much about OpenFaint because I don't really care about it. If you know what OpenFaint is and you like it, then you'll be glad this game supports it. If you don't know what OpenFaint is, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm really encouraged by this game because it shows that the iPhone and iPad are really capable of hosting great games. It's just important to make sure that the game is well suited to the hardware that's running it. Just like on a PC, you want games that use the mouse and keyboard effectively, or on a Nintendo DS, you want a game that uses the stylus well, or on a Wii, you want a game that makes good use of the remote. New controls really open the door for new styles of play. Game genres like text adventures, turn-based strategy games, and more recently tower defense games have really made a comeback and have helped diversify the kinds of games out there. Let's face it, if we all make the same kind of games all the time, then that really limits the potential audience. Personally, I would rather play a game like this than a game like Call of Duty. That doesn't mean Call of Duty is a bad game, it's just not a game that suits my personal interests. Diversity of hardware is also good. While companies like Nintendo have taken great strides to reach out to new gamers, at the end of the day, not everyone is going to spend the time or money to go and buy a dedicated game console. But if you offer them a great game on a device like a cell phone, which is something they already have, then they may be willing to give it a try. I have to say that I really enjoy this game. It's my favorite game on the iPhone currently, and I keep coming back to it. If memory serves me correctly, there's a light version available for free download from the Apple App Store. So if you're curious about this game, you can download the first level and give it a try. But be warned, if you're like me, you're bound to get hooked. This is the Expanded Gamer in Asia, and you're watching Espgaluda II for the iPhone.